When he paid 10 million for cheating, she finally said no. You won't believe her next move. The room was filled with a palpable tension, an electric hum that vibrated against the walls, as if society itself was holding its breath. Money changes hands in whispers, but 10 million? That was an announcement, a declaration of war on the soul. In the center, Nathaniel Barker, a man whose charm was only exceeded by his wealth, stood frozen. His veins pulsed with fear. No, it was more than fear, it was terror. The kind that paralyzed the heart, leaving it heavy and aching. He had been caught, but this was no ordinary scandal. The stakes were life or death, though the price tag seemed just an extravagant escape. Around him, witnesses gawked, their faces morphing into portraits of disbelief. Some leaned closer, straining to catch snippets of the heated confrontation between him and Tiffany Hale, the woman whose spirit burned like the sunset. She had been his golden ticket, but not for much longer. Tiffany possessed a rare fire, one that ignited the air with her fierce words. Just moments earlier, she had flung the contract back at him, a piece of paper as grotesque as betrayal itself. The gasps in the crowd rose like a rising tide. No one expected her to deny him. No one expected her to reclaim her power, but as the words left her lips cold and sharp like a shard of glass, everyone knew something had shifted. Strangely, the room felt colder even with the bustling heat of those gathered. Shadows lengthened, casting eerie shapes on the walls. No one dared to move. They were trapped in a web spun from curiosity and horror. A lingering question hung in the air. What was Tiffany planning next? Was this simply an act of defiance, or did she have something far more sinister in her mind? A sudden crash echoed from the back of the room, a glass smashing against the floor, a shriek piercing through the heavy atmosphere. It broke the tension like a snap of a rubber band, propelling adrenaline through the crowd. Eyes darted to the source, but before they could settle, Nathaniel's eyes locked onto Tiffany's. There was a fire there, a wild kind of resolve that bloomed in the midst of his spiraling thoughts. Anything could happen now, and no one could predict the next move. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. But even amid his panic, Nathaniel couldn't ignore that flicker in her gaze. Silence descended like a blanket, heavy and suffocating. What did she know? What was she scheming? The mere thought twisted his gut like a knife. As he stumbled backward, trying to comprehend what he might lose, Tiffany took a step closer, her lips curling into a smile so confident it sent shivers down the room's spine. The air crackled with anticipation. Something monumental was brewing. Uncertainty coursed through Nathaniel as he realized the depths of her resolve. Her next move would change everything. Would he be ready? Tiffany stepped forward, the distance between them closing like the final seconds of a ticking clock. The crowd held its collective breath, aware that the moment could shatter into chaos or dawn a new era. Her smile faded, replaced by a granite stare, strong and unwavering. This was not the woman Nathaniel had reckoned with when he laid out the offer. He thought he had her cornered, but the fire in her eyes whispered of a different kind of wisdom, one born from betrayal and hurt. Nate, she said, her voice steady. You think you can throw money at me and expect me to roll over? This isn't about the dollars. It's about the integrity you shattered like that glass back there. She waved her hand toward the broken shards, a symbol now of everything that had been lost. Nathaniel's heart raced. Could she really do this? His mind raced through the consequences. He needed to re-engage the crowd, to weave the narrative back in his favor. But each fleeting thought only deepened the pit in his stomach. The stakes were higher now, more than just a broken trust. You're making a mistake, he barked, his voice cracking slightly. You don't want to go down this path. Think of the fallout. But Tiffany surged forward, piercing through his attempts to manipulate. Fallout? You think I'm afraid of the aftermath? The fallout is what brought me here. It's taken me too long to find my voice. There was rage simmering behind her eyes, simmering beneath her skin, and Nathaniel began to feel an inkling of panic gnawing at the edges of his bravado. His heart pounded as the audience shifted, uncertain which side to root for. Some murmured quietly, others exchanged glances that spoke endlessly of whispered judgments. The tension was thicker than the cool air. It felt alive, and as the seconds ticked by, Nathaniel understood that control was slipping through his fingers like water. Do you really think you can just walk away from this? He spat, desperate. You'll lose everything. No, I'll gain everything, she shot back. Freedom from you. By saying no, I choose my own destiny. How many people can actually say that? What would you do without your money, Nate? What would you have left? He had never thought of it like that, and it stung. People had always seen him as untouchable. What did it even mean to be untouchable when someone revealed the cracks in the facade? That feeling twisted in him, fear and anger vibrating like strings on a plucked instrument. He froze, staring at her, a man who had learned to navigate through life with power, suddenly powerless. Yet, deep inside him, a new thought sparked. A desperate scheme, like a wild animal seeking a way to escape captivity. If she wanted her freedom, then he could offer her one last deal that highlighted his cunning. Tiffany, he said, lowering his voice, what if I told you there's a way out? A way to take back everything, my wealth, my influence? I can help you turn this moment into something bigger. You can reclaim your story. She hesitated, just for an instant, and that flicker of doubt made Nathaniel's heart surge with hope. But Tiffany shook her head. I already have my story. And when I write it, you want to be part of it. The finality of her words echoed through Nathaniel. Things were spiraling out of control, and he could feel the ground beneath him shift. He needed to think fast. The audience was now simmering with anticipation. Suddenly, a commotion broke out behind him. A commotion that could change everything. I want to know what really happened. Someone yelled, their voice rising above the buzz of murmurs. The crowd turned as a figure emerged, someone Nathaniel hadn't expected. A witness to his downfall, a shred of the truth waiting to be uncovered. His blood ran cold. What did this person know? How deeply were his secrets buried? In that moment, the landscape of betrayal shifted again. Who held the power now felt uncertain. The game was on. What revelation lay ahead, waiting to unearth the truth? As the figure stepped into the fray, Nathaniel's mind raced. He squinted through the crowd, trying to identify who had the audacity to challenge him now. It was Jason, an old business partner who'd been pushed aside when Nathaniel's ambitions had grown larger than life. Jason's face was a mix of defiance and unease, a man unwilling to watch yet another life fester. I know what you did, Nate, he called out, voice shaking but resonant. You think money can cover the truth? You think you can buy silence? The crowd's murmurs intensified, a cacophony swelling with anticipation. Nothing could prepare Nathaniel for the truth Jason was about to unleash. Nate pretends to be all about integrity and excellence, but I've seen the contracts, the deals you would rather keep hidden. Jason paused, his gaze darting to Tiffany. She's got every right to claim her freedom, because you won't let anyone stand in your way. The air thickened, like a storm brewing just above. Nathaniel fought to keep the facade steady, panic creeping through his veins. Every secret he thought was buried now felt dangerously close to the surface. This is a personal matter, Jason. He shot back, rage punctuating his words. Let us not air dirty laundry for the world to see. But the crowd was hungry for a revelation, and they leaned closer, straining to catch every word. The unease in the air was palpable, tinged with a mix of hope and dread. Tiffany seized the moment, glancing between Nathaniel and Jason. What secrets, Nate? She asked, her tone laced with curiosity and challenge. Is this the man you want to silence? Because if he knows something, I want to hear it. Her voice was fierce, her confidence reclaiming the ground Nathaniel had just lost. Jason met her gaze, stepping forward as if he had been handed a lifeline. The night of the gala, the one where so many people thought it was just a glamorous event? That was actually the night when deals were struck, deals that shouldn't have been. He pointed directly at Nathaniel. I watched you shake hands with people you promised to play fair with. And you didn't. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Nathaniel's heart thundered. He had built his career on a foundation of carefully curated lies, and now they were crumbling before his very eyes. The fear gnawed at him, twisting his gut into knots. Desperation clawed at him as he tried to reassert control. You're just bitter, Jason. This isn't the place for your vendetta. His voice, once commanding, now trembled. Maybe, Jason shot back with unyielding resolve. But this isn't just about us anymore. Tiffany deserves to know who she's dealing with. We all do. The tension in the crowd reached a breaking point, whispers colliding and murmuring like waves crashing on a shore. Tiffany took a step closer to Nathaniel, raising her chin defiantly. Did you deceive me, Nate? Did you lie as easily as you breathe? His stomach twisted, and he suddenly felt exposed. I did what I had to do, he replied, his voice softer, more vulnerable than he intended. I did it all for us. Us? Tiffany interrupted, eyes blazing. You mean you did it all for you? In that moment, Nathaniel realized that whatever power he had left was rapidly waning. Fear surged through him. If the truth came out now, he would lose not just Tiffany, but every ounce of respect he had built. Swallowing hard, he stepped back, trying to regain his composure. But Jason wasn't done. And another thing, Nate, he said, leaning in closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper meant for Nathaniel alone, yet loud enough for the audience to hear. You'll never be able to silence me completely. There's something I haven't told anyone yet, something that could bring you down entirely. A hush fell over the crowd, breaths held in suspense as all eyes turned back to Nathaniel. What did Jason know? Had he uncovered the final nail in Nathaniel's coffin? Time froze as Nathaniel discovered that the echoes of his past misdeeds were about to collide with his carefully constructed world, and the weight of that collision would change everything, maybe even destroy him. Was the truth about to unravel in ways he could never foresee? The crowd hung on Jason's words, a tangible mix of shock and anticipation thickening the air. Nathaniel felt as if the ground beneath him had cracked open, ready to swallow him whole. Panic surged as his mind darted back to the countless threads he'd woven into his intricate web of deception. What do you mean, Jason? Nathaniel's voice came out harsher than he intended. He fought to maintain his composure, but the tremors in his hands betrayed him. You're bluffing, and we both know it. Tiffany stood at the epicenter of the brewing storm, her attention shifting between the two men. The crowd's murmurs escalated, igniting a fire within her. If there's something more, Jason, then say it. Don't leave us hanging, she demanded, her voice sharp with urgency. A few people nearby nodded in agreement. Clearly intrigued, Jason smirked, enjoying the power he momentarily held. All right, let us take it back to a night you thought was just for mingling. Remember the charity gala, Nate? He glanced at Tiffany, emphasizing the gravity of his next words. That's when I first learned about the money you funneled to get ahead in your deals. I have documents that prove it was all a setup, a con game to line your pockets while pretending to help others. A silence fell like a guillotine. Nathaniel's mind raced, scrambling for a way out. His heart pounded against his ribs, each beat louder than a war drum. He couldn't afford to show weakness. You're talking nonsense, Jason. Am I? Jason practically sneered. I have discussions recorded, meetings logged. You'd be surprised how many people were in on it. Or should I say, victims of your charm? Tiffany's eyes widened as the implications sank in. Is this true, Nathaniel? She asked, her voice now a low whisper, laced with disbelief. With every accusation, the walls loomed closer, suffocating him. He had known Jason would be trouble, but this? This was an unexpected plunge into a deeper abyss. This is all hearsay. You have no proof. He shot back, desperation itching in every nerve. Jason stepped closer, passion burning in his eyes. You think everyone's too intimidated to talk? I know people who can testify. You built this empire on the backs of those you betrayed, and it's about to come crumbling down. The crowd responded with breath-catching gasps, intrigue flipping to outrage. A woman in the front shouted, "You're a fraud, Nathaniel." Exactly. You've deceived us all. Echoed a man from further back. Nathaniel felt himself sweating, the anger boiling inside him like a raging inferno. You think their voices matter? I control this town. I control their livelihoods. The ferocity of his response only fueled the crowd's ire, but then, he saw Tiffany's expression shift, a blend of shock and disbelief washing over her. She took a step back, her unwavering confidence slowly cracking. And what if this is true? Her voice trembled, now holding both fear and strength in balance. What if you really have been cheating all along? His breath caught, words unspooling in his throat. For a split second, he considered lying again, attempting a last-minute save. But he couldn't. The weight of her gaze felt too heavy. I did what was necessary. Jason raised an eyebrow, triumphant. What about you, Tiffany? You'll want to ask yourself if being with a man like this is worth it. The truth always finds a way to rise, Nate. Just like the people you've wronged. But for the first time, Nathaniel didn't sense the venom in Jason's words. He sensed fear. It rattled in his bones, deepening the realization that Jason wouldn't just stop attacking once he unraveled these secrets. It was going to be a war. The heart of the room pulsed with tension as everyone held their breath, waiting for Tiffany's reaction. If she turned on him now, desperation clawed at him, tightening its grip like a vice. Just don't, he pleaded, knowing it was too late to control the narrative. Tiffany took the final step back, crossing her arms. You think I'd stick around after hearing all of this? You've betrayed everyone, including me. Fury coursed through Nathaniel as denial morphed into something darker. You don't mean that, he snapped, each word a plea cloaked in anger. But she shook her head, the decision cemented. You've given me every reason to walk away. I won't be part of this anymore. One sentence shattered everything. The crowd exhaled, and Jason remained motionless, a smirk lingering on his lips. Nathaniel's chest tightened, and in that moment, he realized, he had to act or risk losing everything he had built. What are you planning to do? Jason asked, reveling in the chaos he had sown. I'll expose you first. Nathaniel spat, his voice rising again. You won't take me down without a fight. With the tension electric, the crowd silently swirled in a whirlwind of confusion, excitement, and anticipation. Just as Nathaniel readied to unleash his next move, a shadow darted from the edges of the crowd, disappearing into the night. Who was that? And what would they reveal before the dust settled? The air shifted, thickening with uncertainty. Nathaniel's heart hammered in his chest, echoing through the tension that hung in the room like a storm cloud ready to burst. Every face in the crowd morphed from intrigue to suspicion, casting him as the villain in a story that was unraveling too fast for him to handle. Someone's leaving? Someone yelled from the back, breaking the stunned silence. A few heads turned, expecting to catch a glimpse of the shadow that darted away. But Nathaniel's focus zeroed in on Jason, whose Cheshire grin teased the edges of his sanity. What's it going to be, Nate? The show is just getting started. Jason's voice sliced through the remaining silence, sending shivers racing down Nathaniel's spine. Tiffany's eyes were locked on him, searching for answers like a lifeboat adrift in a raging sea. He felt her disappointment hammering against him, a relentless tide pulling him under. I can explain everything, he croaked, his voice cracking under the weight of her gaze. Can you? She challenged, arms crossed tighter than before. Or are these just more lies? Jason interjected, lies are what got him this far, Tiff. You're smarter than this. You can't honestly still think he deserves your loyalty. The crowd began to murmur, a chorus of nods and whispered agreeances fanning the flames of Nathaniel's shame. Panic simmered right beneath the surface, thick and boiling, threatening to spill over at any moment. With every tick of the clock, the noose of suspicion tightened around Nathaniel's neck. The voices echoed louder, drowning out all rational thought. Liars don't get loyalty. He's betrayed us all. A voice yelled from somewhere near the front. Enough. Nathaniel spat, desperation fueling every syllable. You're all so quick to condemn. Have you forgotten everything I've done for you? The crowd fell silent, waiting for his next breath, their anticipation weighing down his heart. No one cares about your flashy deals anymore, Nate. You're toxic. Tiffany shot back, her voice booming with conviction. The fire behind her words ignited something deep within him. You've built a castle on lies, and now it's crumbling under its own weight. With each passing second, the reality of his situation was sinking in deeper. He had squandered his relationship with Tiffany, his friendships, and all the trust he had built over the years. The walls felt like they were closing in, and the mocking laughter of Jason echoed in his ears. Suddenly, the shadow from earlier returned, looming tall and fierce. Nathaniel squinted through the dim light, and his gut twisted. It was Kelsey, his former partner in crime, and the betrayer of his biggest secret, clutching a folder tightly against her chest. You all deserve to know the truth, she called, her voice steady but tinged with a hint of fear. What truth do you have, Kelsey? Jason smirked, obviously pleased to find another piece of Nathaniel's demise. The crowd shifted, drawn into her revelation like moths to a flame. It's not just Nathaniel, Kelsey shouted, her voice cracking as tension rippled through them all. It's about the entire operation he ran. And so much more. For a moment, Nathaniel's heart sank to his feet. Would she reveal everything, the fraud, the schemes, the lives he had shattered behind his charming facade? A bead of sweat dripped down his back, pooling in the small of his spine as Kelsey stepped forward, eyes blazing with defiance. Wait! He shouted, panic oozing into his voice. You don't know what you're about to, but Kelsey cut him off, lifting the folder like a sword. And I'm ready to expose it all. You think I'm scared of you, Nathaniel? I'm not. The truth will rise, just like Jason said. And it's going to burn you to the ground. The room buzzed with anxious energy, bodies leaning in, fascinated by this unexpected twist. The crowd gasped in unison, horror and curiosity weaving together. Nathaniel felt nausea wash over him. The fabric of his world was torn, unraveling in the blink of an eye. He formed a plan in his mind, a desperate grasp for control. If you think I'm going down without a fight, he began, but his words hung in the air, unfinished and ominous, like a promise he wasn't sure he could keep. Kelsey's determination was fierce, and everyone could see it. This was far from over. With darkness closing in and the pieces of his life scattering like leaves in the wind, he realized that this battle wasn't just about survival, this was about revenge. And he wouldn't go down quietly. What more did Kelsey know? With every secret revealed, would Nathaniel lose the very last thing he fought for, the truth? Kelsey stood at the front, the folder shaking slightly in her grasp, each breath she took filling the room with a new layer of tension. Nathaniel felt every eye on him, judgment painting every face like a brush dipped in venom. He raked a hand through his hair, the sweat at his temples cooling against the silencing dread that wrapped around him. Stop! He cried again, his voice hoarse. You can't do this. Desperation clawed at his throat, nearly choking him. The crowd's murmurs escalated, feeding Kelsey's resolve. Why not? She retorted, a fire igniting in her eyes. Because it's going to ruin your precious reputation? You've already done that yourself. Everyone here has watched you twist the truth until it fit your lies. This is just the beginning of the fallout. Nathaniel could feel Jason's smirk digging into him, each taunt sending hot waves of anger through his veins. The room felt like it was contracting, walls closing in, whispering doubts clawing at him. He focused on Tiffany, her expression a mix of concern and disappointment that burned him deeper than any accusation. "Enough with the theatrics, Kelsey," Nathaniel shouted. "We don't need to air dirty laundry in public. This is not the way to resolve anything." His heart raced with the words hanging in the air like a death knell. "But it is the only way," Kelsey replied, flipping the folder open. The soft sound of paper rustling was deafening, and Nathaniel's stomach dropped. Her finger ran down a page, and just as he prepared to push through the crowd and reach her, he sensed a shifting behind him. What caught him off guard was not just the weight of her index finger pointing to the damning evidence contained within that folder. It was the sudden silence that enveloped the room. An otherworldly stillness, like the calm before a hurricane. Then it came. Jason faintly chuckled, the sound creeping into a laugh that sent sharp jolts of terror through Nathaniel. "You think this is going to scare us?" His voice dripped with condescension. "Please show us what's so incriminating. I want to see the great Nathaniel Raines squirm." Kelsey's eyes flickered to Nathaniel, a mix of rage and pity. "You want to know what hit you," she said, her tone steady, unwavering. "You think you can lure everyone into believing your charm? That just because you dressed yourself in a suit, you aren't the snake in the garden?" She pulled out a stack of papers, holding them aloft like a talisman. The crowd leaned in, and Nathaniel felt trapped, caught between chaos and silence, anger and fear blazing through him. Then Jason spoke, but this time it wasn't a taunt, his voice lowered, almost sinister. "What you don't realize, Kelsey, is that you're just another piece in his game. If you think this will end with Nathaniel alone, it's bigger than that." Kelsey interrupted, her voice cutting through Jason's manipulative threats like a knife. "It's about all of us. All the people he's hurt along the way. You think you're safe, Jason? You're complicit. And when the truth comes out, it won't just be Nathaniel who burns." The crowd murmured again, confusion washing over their faces, but beneath that confusion was a crackling current of realization. Some people shifted uncomfortably, others took a step back. Nathaniel felt the ground shifting beneath him. Chaos thrummed through the air, and the heat in his chest pulsed. "Kelsey, please," he pleaded, desperation clawing at the edges of his voice. But it was too late. She wrenched the papers from the folder and flicked through them, eyes locked on the faces in the crowd. "These are the records of lies you've built your fortune on, Nathaniel. This is only the beginning." As the crowd gasped again, Nathaniel's mind raced. An idea began to form, a reckless, desperate move he hoped would buy him time. "I'll make a deal," he shouted, not thinking through the possibilities of how that could backfire. Kelsey paused, her gaze hardening. "A deal?" she echoed, disbelief bleeding into her tone. "You mean another lie? What do you think this is, a negotiation? I'll give you whatever you want, just don't expose this." His voice trembled, raw with fear. Panic peppered his pleas, echoing like a prayer in the storm. But it was Jason who laughed now, a cruel mockery. "What do you have left to give, Nathaniel? Your words are worthless." As corners of the crowd began to turn against him, Nathaniel felt his hope slip beneath the waves. All he could think was that the oncoming tidal wave of revelation was inevitable. He braced himself for the fallout that would come next. Would Kelsey expose everything, or was there a chance he could turn the tide back in his favor? The air crackled with uncertain energy, a bomb waiting to explode. In that moment, Nathaniel knew he had to act now, to wrestle control from the firestorm brewing around him. But how could he possibly flip the narrative when the truth was so combustible, and Kelsey stood ready to ignite it? Kelsey held the papers tightly, her knuckles wide against the weight of the moment. A chill ran down Nathaniel's spine as he saw the shift in the crowd. Their curiosity had turned into judgment, and with a single gesture, Kelsey could erase everything he had built. Panic surged through him, a tide of cold dread. "Enough games, Kelsey," he shouted, desperation rippling through his voice. "You don't have to do this. Think about what it means for all of us." The room was electric with conflicting emotions. Kelsey stepped forward, leaning into the intensity. "What it means, Nathaniel, is transparency. People deserve to know the truth about you." "Do they?" Jason interrupted, raising an eyebrow. He sauntered close to Kelsey, dripping with mocking charm. "Let us play a little game, shall we? How about we ask the crowd who they really believe, the charming businessman, or the whistleblower with a personal vendetta?" Nathaniel's heart raced. He could almost see the scales tipping. Kelsey's passion was palpable, but so was the doubt creeping into the crowd's murmurings. Did they still see him as the protector of their dreams, or was he already a monster hiding behind a polished facade? "Remember who we are," Jason continued smoothly. "This is our community, our friends. We've celebrated together. Can you destroy that with this? This is about loyalty, Kelsey. You should know better." Each word dripped with insidious calm. Kelsey's eyes narrowed, but Nathaniel could see the flicker of inconsistency within her. "Let them decide, Nathaniel. If you really believe there's nothing wrong with what you've done, I'll show you." He blurted out, adrenaline sharpening his mind. "I'll prove how much I've done for this community. All those investment projects, the jobs created? All those charities? I'll go public. I'll write everything down. You want transparency?" Laughter erupted from Jason, filling the room with a sardonic echo. "You think that LL save you? It just makes you look more desperate." Kelsey's grip on the papers faltered. Was Nathaniel really suggesting a complete reveal? Instinctively, her rational mind tried to hold on to the superhuman strength she'd rallied for this confrontation. "Fine," Nathaniel continued, emboldened by the inexplicable fear coursing through him. "Let us take this to social media. I'll put all my cards on the table. I'll invite everyone to see who I truly am. Are you really willing to put your life in the hands of strangers?" Kelsey whispered, realization dawning over her face. "Do it," Jason hissed, eager to push Nathaniel toward the ledge. "Public opinion can be ruthless. Show them all your skeletons, Nathaniel. Maybe if they're kind enough, they won't throw you off the cliff when they see you've lied all along." Nathaniel gulped. The crowd was shifting again, eyes darting between the three of them, gauging reactions. The tension in the room thickened like smoke, choking him. "Kelsey," he said, softer now, "if I do this, you need to promise me you'll let me explain myself. Just let me have one chance." Kelsey hesitated, her heart pounding against her ribcage. What was he plotting? This could be the final nail in his coffin. Or a miraculous escape. Could he really expose everything, or was it just another manipulation disguised as honesty? Slowly, she nodded. "One chance," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "But if you lie again?" The unsaid words hung ominously in the air. Kelsey took a step back, her grip loosening on the folder. For the first time, uncertainty flickered in her eyes, a confusion so tangible it draped over her like a fog. Then, the unexpected happened. A voice called out from the back, a reminder of the community's stake. "What's in those papers, Kelsey? What's going on here?" The atmosphere crackled with anticipation. Nathaniel's heart raced with renewed hope and dread. He knew this was a pivotal moment. But Kelsey hesitated, staring at the papers in her hands. If she revealed the contents, there would be no turning back. Her mind raced through the implications, as did Nathaniel's. In that agonizing pause, the crowd began to react, some clamoring for answers, others stepping back, sensing the danger. "Let me show you," Kelsey finally said, raising the papers once more, but the resolve in her voice wavered. And in that split second, Nathaniel's instincts kicked in. "Wait!" he shouted, panic clawing up his throat. "Before we go any further, let me just ask." As silence enveloped them, he took a shaky breath. What was he ready to gamble? And would Kelsey's next move redefine everything or plunge them all into chaos? With his voice trembling, he demanded, "You have to ask yourself, what price are you willing to pay for the truth?" The question hung in the air, heavy and charged, as the world around them held its breath, waiting for an explosion that could reshape their fates. The room's silence morphed into a tension so thick it felt as if it could burst. Every eye was on Kelsey, every breath held. Nathaniel could see the indecision swirl in her mind as it clashed with his pressing urgency. The crowd's anticipation pulsed like a living thing, waiting for her revelation or his implosion. Kelsey finally lowered the papers, her gaze darting to the crowd that had shifted in their seats, some emboldened, others frightened. "The truth," she stammered, "is more intricate than either of you can see." "What does that even mean?" a man shouted from the back, his frustration bubbling to the surface. "Enough of the riddles." Another voice chimed in, a ripple of agreement running through the crowd. Kelsey's heart raced. She felt the weight of the impending storm, both Nathaniel's desperation and Jason's icy manipulation. "If I reveal what's in these papers," she began, the words tumbling out as she fought against her inner turmoil, "it could change everything for all of us." "Then change it," Jason interrupted, his voice dripping with darkness. "Show them the truth and watch what happens." "Isn't that right, Nathaniel?" A rush of anger flared inside Nathaniel. "Kelsey, don't let him do this. You have to trust your instincts. We can turn this around, together." A flicker of hope danced in Kelsey's eyes, but it was overshadowed by uncertainty. How could she trust him? Everything he'd built stood precariously, on the brink of collapse. "But what if exposing you only makes it worse?" "Then let me control the narrative first," Nathaniel shouted, urgency spilling into each syllable. "Let me speak before you make a decision you can't take back." The crowd had turned restless, murmuring amongst themselves as they sensed the growing storm. Jason leaned back, a smug grin plastered across his face. The businessman begging for mercy in front of the people he's used. His gaze slid back to Kelsey, his expression a mask of false sympathy. "You really think they'll forgive him if you try to defend him? Look at him, he's trembling." Kelsey's eyes narrowed. Was Jason's confidence winning over the crowd? They were her friends, her neighbors. Did loyalty still mean something? The very fabric of their community was at risk. "Maybe he's right," she finally said, her voice steadying. "But if I take this step, I need you to promise me, Nathaniel, no more lies. Just truth, however painful." Nathaniel felt the room tilt beneath him. "I'm ready, Kelsey." "More than you know." With a deep breath, Kelsey stepped closer, raising the papers high above her head as the crowd leaned in with bated breath. "What I'm about to reveal will change everything." "Don't do this," Nathaniel cried out, fear lashing at his insides. Panic clawed at his throat as he thought of everything he stood to lose, everything he built on what could crumble into dust. But Kelsey was already speaking, her voice ringing clear across the hall. "These are the accounts, the donations that show exactly where Nathaniel invested his money and what he hid from all of you." A collective gasp echoed through the crowd. Nathaniel could feel his heart hammering in his chest. He groaned inwardly, knowing all his secrets were flashing before him. "Are you ready for the truth?" Kelsey added, her gaze fierce, her resolve firm. And suddenly, a conflict broke out. The crowd turned wild, shouting questions, demanding answers. Lori, a young mother clutching her baby, screamed out, "Have you betrayed us, Nathaniel?" Nathaniel stood frozen, wrestling the tidal wave of emotions crashing against him. Before he could answer, Jason's sly voice cut through the chaos. "Let us give them an actual show, shall we? The one where their beloved leader's actions are laid bare for everyone to scrutinize?" In the chaos, Nathaniel noticed a familiar face slipping toward the exit, a face that shouldn't be there. A chill gripped him, instinctively diverting his attention. "Kelsey," he called, pointing to the figure in the shadows. It was Oliver, his former partner. "Don't you see? He's the real reason behind all of this." The crowd faltered, shifting their focus. Was this the twist no one had expected? As eyes began to narrow in suspicion, Kelsey paled. "Wait," she said, her mind racing. "What do you mean?" Nathaniel's voice dipped to a fearful whisper. "If Oliver's involved, it goes deeper than we thought. This isn't just about us." A murmur spread through the crowd, doubts mingling with curiosity. Kelsey trembled, adrenaline coursing through her veins. "What do you know about him?" "Enough to know that trusting him could be our biggest mistake," Nathaniel pleaded, every word laced with urgency. And with that, a new tension washed over the crowd, thickening the air even further. The truth was clawing its way to the surface, but what lay beneath it was a well of secrets that had yet to be unearthed. Would Kelsey stand with him now against the tide of doubt? As the tension flared, Nathaniel felt the familiar gnawing fear return. The storm was just beginning, and the price for truth could still define them all. Would Kelsey pull the trigger, or would the doubt consume them? "Let us see if you're a monster," she whispered as she merely glanced at the papers once again. He realized then that doubling down wasn't enough anymore. "What else do you have to lose?" he murmured softly, his fate resting entirely in her hands. Kelsey's heart raced, the world around her fading into a blur as she stared at the papers, her breath hitching in her throat. The weight of the decision pressed heavily on her chest, each heartbeat echoing her dread. Faces swirled in front of her, each one waiting, demanding. Would she stand beside Nathaniel or expose him? "Oliver has always been lurking, Kelsey," Nathaniel emphasized, urgency dripping from his words. "He's waiting for the right moment to strike. Don't let Jason twist the narrative." The crowd shifted, the clamoring voices growing louder, intertwining with her conflicted thoughts. "We need answers," they shouted, demand rippling through their ranks like a rising tide. Their rejection of Nathaniel fueled Jason's smug expression, and Kelsey felt the burn of betrayal singe the air. "A monster, you say?" Kelsey murmured, her grip tightening around the papers, fire igniting within her. "And yet, here we are, caught in a web of deception crafted by your hands, Nathaniel. How do I know you're not just trying to save yourself now?" Nathaniel's eyes widened, the truth of her words piercing through his defenses. "I messed up. I admit it. But don't let Jason use that against you." The sincerity in his tone fought against the tide of uncertainty washing over her. "Who can I trust?" she shouted, feeling the desperation seep into every word. The crowd went silent, their focus honed back on her, eyes glimmering with an odd mixture of hope and judgment. From the corner of her vision, she spotted Oliver lingering in the shadows, a hint of a grin curling on his lips. He was the puppet master, pulling strings just out of reach. "What do you gain by coming back now, Oliver?" She wanted to scream, but she couldn't allow distraction to tempt her. "Choose wisely, Kelsey," Jason interjected, his voice snaking through the tension like a serpent. "He's the one who tore this community apart." "No," Nathaniel cried, frustration boiling within him. "Jason's the one orchestrating this chaos. He's the true villain." The collective breath of the crowd hitched once more. Each member felt the gravity of the choice being made. Kelsey closed her eyes, grasping for clarity among the roar of her thoughts. Everyone was waiting, but it was like wading through a storm to find the shore. Doubt and fear crashed over her like waves. But then, a flicker of resolve ignited inside her. "Enough," she shouted, eyes blazing with intensity as she faced the room. "I may not have all the answers, but I won't play this game anymore." Nathaniel's eyes grew wide, surprise evident on his face. She could feel it, the shift. The room pulsed with unease as her words sank in, pulling the crowd from the brink of chaos. But in that moment of triumph, a shadow crossed Kelsey's heart. What if this all backfires? She thought, the realization crashing down. The stakes were higher than she'd ever anticipated. Reveal the truth, Kelsey. Show them what's hidden. Jason urged, his voice laced with malice. She took a deep breath, the air thick with tension, and slowly unfurled the papers again. The crowd leaned in, curiosity mingling with dread. These documents, they reveal more than just Nathaniel's secrets. They could expose us all. A gasping murmur rolled through the audience, turning like a wave of apprehension. Glancing to Nathaniel, his face pale but resolute, she took one more moment to weigh her choice. This isn't just about you, Nathaniel. This is about us. About our community and what we stand for. What are you doing? He mouthed, panic lacing his eyes. But Kelsey felt the threads of her fate intertwining with every step she took forward. You all deserve to know the full truth, she declared, holding the papers aloft. In that instant, a sudden loud crash echoed through the hall. The front doors flung open, and a figure rushed, and a loud gasp erupted from the crowd as they recognized him instantly. Oliver. The crowd gasped, and Kelsey's heart stopped. Had he come to claim his power? Or was this the moment everything would spiral out of control? As the energy shifted like a coiled spring, Kelsey's mind raced. They had no idea what lay behind them, and yet Kelsey felt the horrifying pull of destiny locking her in place. Now it's time for the real game to begin, Oliver announced, a smile creeping across his face, a predatory glare that pierced through the burgeoning chaos. And just like that, the storm roared back to life, dragging them all towards a dark precipice from which there was no safe return. What would he reveal next? Kelsey braced herself, knowing the truth had never been this dangerously close to the surface. The air was charged with chaos, tension snapping like a taut wire. Oliver's smug grin widened as he paced forward, confidence radiating from him. Kelsey felt the weight of his presence crush her, the crowd equally poised between fear and curiosity. Who was this man? What truth was he holding over them that could shift everything? Isn't it lovely, Oliver began, his voice fluid and mocking, to see so many familiar faces gathered to witness the downfall of their beloved leader? Laughter rippled through the crowd, dark and full of anticipation. Nathaniel shot a furious glance at Kelsey, silently screaming for her to pull back, to ignore him. But Kelsey wouldn't back down now. She could see the truth creeping into the edges of the room, threatening to unravel everything. What do you mean, Oliver? She called out, steadying her voice. What more could you possibly add to this mess? Oh, Kelsey. He feigned innocence, shaking his head slowly. You have no idea how deep the betrayal runs. Nathaniel's pulse raced in his temples, a fresh wave of anger washing over him. This isn't about you, Oliver. He spat, desperation twisting his words. This will only tear us all apart. Or bring us together, Oliver replied coolly, and Kelsey felt her spine tighten. What if I told you that Nathaniel didn't just play games with his money? What if, during every charity gala, deals were happening right under your noses? A collective gasp crisscrossed through the crowd. Nathaniel's face paled as eyes turned expectantly towards Kelsey, her heart pounding like war drums. Could it really be true? I was the one who had to bail him out from sticky situations, you know, Oliver continued, savoring every word. When things fell apart and the truth began to leak, I kept everything afloat, all while Nathaniel basked in glory. His voice dripped with disdain, each syllable thick with a revelatory bitterness. Kelsey squinted, trying to piece together the fragments. Could Nathaniel have used her? Was this all part of his grand scheme? Her breath caught as she realized the layers of manipulation between them. Nathaniel, is this true? She asked, voice trembling. I did what I thought was best. He stepped closer, desperation oozing from him. I needed to protect this community by deceiving it? Kelsey interrupted, anger flooding her veins. What gives you the right? Nathaniel hesitated, the fight leaving him as he struggled against the mounting tide of accusations. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone. I wanted to show my loyalty, to build something real. I thought I could manage. You thought wrong. Jason stepped forward, smirking in triumph. The truth is, Kelsey, Nathaniel is only worried about saving his own skin now. The crowd shifted restlessly. Kelsey felt their judgment weighing heavily on her, and deep down, she questioned whom she could truly trust. You think exposing Nathaniel will clear your conscience? She challenged Oliver, her heart racing. Or do you just want to see the fire engulf us all? Oh, I crave the chaos, Oliver replied, his smile almost sinister. And the sight of you caught in the middle makes it all worth it. Just think each revelation steals the light from those phony days of glitz and glamour. Kelsey clenched the papers, determination surging through her. No more lies, Oliver. It ends here. We're taking control back. But then Nathaniel cut in, his voice a shadow of its usual power. And if we're going to tidy this mess up, we should explore all the secrets everyone has. The room went deathly quiet, all eyes on him, the pulse of community hanging in the balance. Jason laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the hall. You're scrambling, Nate. You think a little transparency will save you? It's more than that. Nathaniel's tone sharpened, a glimmer of defiance flickering back to life. Oliver isn't the only one hiding corruption. If I'm going down, so is everyone involved with me. I want to expose everything, bring all the darkness to light. I'll show you who orchestrated the scams, and I want Kelsey to join in this revelation. Together, we can unravel everything. Kelsey's heart raced again, doubt creeping back in. Could this be a path to redeeming their community? But then, the danger clawed at her, a risk too great to ignore. Or a chance for further destruction, she whispered, taking a slow step back. I'm done pleading for my innocence, Nathaniel declared, the fire lighting in his eyes. And if anyone tries to use this as a weapon, it will blow up in their faces. The truth is a bomb, and we will be the ones lighting the fuse. But will it not destroy you too? Jason countered coolly, ever the opportunist. Before Kelsey could respond, Oliver surged forward, the force of his fuming confidence radiating through the space. Let us see who really burns first then. Somewhere between fear and resolution, Kelsey realized they were all clutching at threads, woven in a tapestry of lies that twisted tightly. Together, they could either stitch it back or uncover the insidious patterns hidden beneath the veil. Fine, she said finally, voice echoing loud and clear. We pull the curtain back, together. But if any of you try to play games with the truth, her gaze locked on Nathaniel. This isn't just about revenge. It's about rebuilding. And I'll make sure we do it right. No one will walk away unscathed. A brief pause hung in the air, as if the collective breath of the room had caught hold of them all, watching, waiting, and daring the truth to unravel itself. Together, they took their stand, a storm brewing in the distance, each person poised on the brink of the revelation that would undoubtedly change the very fabric of their community. As tension simmered, the path ahead loomed, shadowed by uncertainty. But Kelsey knew one absolute truth: they were ready to embrace whatever storms awaited them. Now was the moment to shift everything. To reshape their world. And with that resolve setting in, Kelsey stepped forward, ready to face the storm, standing in solidarity against the onslaught of darkness. The truth, waiting to be set free, trembled on the cusp of existence, signaling the beginning of a new chapter in their tumultuous lives. You need to subscribe now, so you don't miss the next explosive stories coming your way. Smash that like button now, feed the algorithm and show your support. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this wild conclusion. And for the love of storytelling, instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who cannot miss out on what comes next. This is the moment to engage with a community that dares to dive deeper into every tale. Don't wait even one more second, be part of this journey.